Students coming to a place like this will find could find challenges in just accessing university in the first place.
As Canadians mark Truth and Reconciliation Week, some say more work needs to be done to make post-secondary education more accessible for Indigenous peoples. Analysis released by Statistics Canada earlier this summer shows a significant gap in the post-secondary participation rate among First Nations people. The numbers from the analysis, coming from the 2016 census, are even worse for Manitoba. The province not only had the widest gap between First Nations people and non-Indigenous youth, but it also had the lowest post-secondary participation rate nationally, with only 21% of First Nations youth attending post-secondary.
Indigenous students might be navigating their identity journeys.
Christine Sear, Associate Vice President Indigenous at the University of Manitoba, says the transition to post-secondary is already a hard one for most students, but Indigenous students may face additional challenges of receiving the right supports for them.
They might be the first person in their family to come to university, so they might feel alone in the process. They might not know who to turn to for help.
The Truth and Reconciliation Commission has provided several calls to action regarding education, including calling on the federal government to provide more funding to ensure more First Nation students can attend post-secondary. The federal government in its 2019 budget committed to spending $320 million over 5 years to expand funding to the post-secondary student support program. The program is meant to provide financial assistance for things like tuition, books, travel, and living allowances.
It's really important that institutions recognize the privilege, recognize the systemic issues that have been barriers for Indigenous students, and work really hard to make sure that Indigenous students come here and they feel welcomed, that they feel like they belong.
In Winnipeg, Djan, City News.